Matheson here in town, who fixed up my suit jacket before I came to the podium. It's always appreciated when you go to an event and your clothier makes you look as good as you possibly can. I also want to take the opportunity to thank another Prince Albert business person, Curtis Lemieux. The Lemieux family has been in business in this city for generations now. He's the owner and the operator of Econo Lumber, and I want to thank Curtis and his father Vic for hosting us here today. In addition to Curtis, we are joined here today by a number of candidates, my colleagues that are running in the provincial election for the Saskatchewan Party. We have our candidate for Meadow Lake, Jeremy Harrison. We have our candidate for right here in Prince Albert, Northcote, Alana Ross. We have our other Prince Albert candidate, Joe Hargrave, for the constituency of Prince Albert Carleton, as well as just north of the city here for the constituency of the Saskatchewan Rivers, we have Nadine Wilson, and just to the south for the constituency of Batoche, we have Delbert Kirsch. So welcome and thank you to each of you for coming here today. The last 6 months have been very challenging for everyone in Saskatchewan as we work together across this province, across this nation, and around the world to contain the spread of COVID-19. Many small businesses have been particularly hard hit during this pandemic. Small businesses are an important economic driver of growth in our communities here in Saskatchewan. They employ nearly 150,000 people in our province, about a quarter of Saskatchewan's total workforce. They provide critical goods and services to our communities, and they are risk takers. They are innovators, and they are very, very creative. They're active in supporting our communities through and through, and right now our small businesses need our support. Our economy is recovering, but there still is some uncertainty for small businesses as well as the employees within those businesses. The Saskatchewan Party wants to do what we can to reduce that uncertainty. We want to help small business sustain their operations and continue to retain their workers, their employees, our community members. We want small businesses to recover, and we want them to grow so that they can hire new workers, so that they can continue to contribute to the well-being of Saskatchewan communities like they always have. So today I am announcing that a re-elected Saskatchewan Party government will provide a temporary elimination of the small business tax rate and a reduction until July of 2023 after that. If we form government, the small business tax will be eliminated from 2% down to 0%, retroactive to October the 1st. This reduction will be in place until July the 1st of 2022, when the small business tax rate will then be moved to 1%. And on July 1st, 2023, that rate will be moved again back to the current 2%. We expect this temporary tax break will benefit about 31,000 incorporated small businesses in Saskatchewan and all of the people that they employ. It will provide $189 million in savings to small businesses over the course of 4 fiscal years. That's $189 million, or about $6,100 per small business. Those dollars can then be reinvested in the business to help drive our recovery. They can be reinvested in our communities. It's important to note that Saskatchewan already has the highest small business income threshold among any province in the nation of Canada. Businesses in Saskatchewan pay the small business tax rate on the first $600,000 of their income. And we believe the combination of a low small business tax rate and the highest small business income tax threshold makes Saskatchewan the very best place in Canada to start and to grow a business. But we know we need to give small businesses a break right now to ensure that they can stay on their feet and they can recover from this global pandemic. And that's why we are reducing their taxes for the next 3 years. This is certainly not the first measure that our government has introduced to assist Saskatchewan businesses throughout this pandemic. The Saskatchewan Small Business Emergency Payment Program provided financial assistance of up to $5,000, and I would thank Jeremy Harrison for the work that he did with our small business community across the province in putting that grant together. To small businesses in Saskatchewan that received this grant, this was made available to those that were ordered to close or to significantly curtail their operations as a result of the response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Saskatchewan Tourism Sector Support Program provided eligible hospitality, event and attraction operators with a one-time, non-repayable emergency payment. $1 million was provided to support a province-wide buy local marketing campaign to encourage Saskatchewan residents to reach out and support their local businesses and their employees, those very businesses that have supported our communities for so many years. And a temporary moratorium was issued to protect small business tenants from commercial evictions during the COVID-19 emergency. All of these programs, alongside today's announcement, are designed to ensure that we continue to have a healthy, a vibrant small business sector in Saskatchewan that continues to create jobs in community after community. Since we were first elected in 2007, Saskatchewan has had the best rate of job creation in the country. During the last 12 years, the NDP were in office, Saskatchewan had the absolute worst record of job creation in the country. We were dead last under the NDP. And we can never go back to those days when we were dead last in job creation in this province. And we won't if a Saskatchewan party is to be re-elected. The Saskatchewan Party remains committed to our growth plan goal of adding 100,000 new jobs by the year 2030. And small businesses in Saskatchewan will play a big part in helping us meet that goal. We want to build a strong Saskatchewan with a strong economy, with strong families, and with strong communities. Giving small businesses a break so that they can recover, create jobs, and keep our economy strong is part of our plan for a strong Saskatchewan. Thank you very much, and if there's any questions, I'd be pleased to take those at this time.
Hello. I'd
Yes.
like to start with the Riviera Academy. I want to know if we have an update on the third-party consulting. There was an evaluation being made for the Riviera Academy in PA, and I want to know if there was an update on that. It was
Third-party consulting on which, sorry?
on the Riviera Academy
Okay.
to see if it could be a new French school for PA.
Sure.
And
Yeah, so I haven't gotten an update on that since we've gotten to the campaign here. As we've been out campaigning, we're not, having briefings from our ministry, so I cannot give you an update with respect to where the Riviera Academy is here in Prince Albert, but I know there are a number of opportunities that the Ministry of Education and other ministries are working very closely with our local partners to ensure that very great facility can be utilized and can be utilized to the benefit of the people that live in and around the city of Prince Albert.
And so can the SAS party continue to commit that there will be a school either renovated or built as it originally committed for the French community in Prince Albert?
We can continue to commit that we'll work very closely with the French community across Saskatchewan to ensure that they have the capital infrastructure and the resources to provide education to the children. In Prince Albert, Saskatoon, and Regina have been forefront of that conversation with Minister Wyant. We'll continue to work through that conversation to ensure that we have the capital infrastructure available, whether that's in a partnership with something like Riviera Academy or whether it needs to be a new build in this community or other communities. Those are conversations that we'll continue to work on. Listen, the record of this government over the course of the 13 years that we have had the honor of serving the people of the province is one where we invest in particular in education. And that includes French education here in the province of Saskatchewan. We have 57 new schools that we have built across this province, and we're not done. We need to continue to build additional schools as with announcements like we have today that will continue to create jobs post-COVID-19. That will attract people and allow people to stay and choose to have a career in a community right in Saskatchewan, and that's going to require further investment in the future in both our public education system, our separate education system, and our French education system.
Morning, Scott. Just curious why you made today's announcement in Prince Albert. Do you foresee this area as a battleground for the SAS party?
No, well, I won't speak to every area across this province is a battleground for the SAS party. We are working very hard, 61 constituencies wide. Our candidates, their teams are working, very hard to go out and meet the people in the province to ask for their support so that we can continue with the efforts that we have made over the course of the last 13 years. The efforts that are solely focused on growing our economy, growing our opportunity, attracting people to live and stay in our communities across Saskatchewan, and ultimately taking the dividends of that growth, the financial dividends of that growth, and reinvesting them back into a competitive economy, but also reinvesting them back into the services in our communities that people expect. And I would most notably look to the community of Prince Albert, where we have worked with the federal government and the municipal government to ensure that we can invest in recreational infrastructure here most recently, but even larger than that would be the new Victoria Hospital, the expansion of the Victoria Hospital, ensuring and understanding that that is a facility that not only services the people of this city, but services the people throughout the entire north. That's why this government stepped forward to pay, like we do in tertiary centres in Saskatoon and Regina, 100% of that investment to service, and to ensure that we have the services and the capital infrastructure when it comes to healthcare to service not only the people that live in this city here, but the people that live throughout the region and throughout northern Saskatchewan. And I think that's an important investment and signifies the outreach that our candidates, previous MLAs in the government, have been working with the people of Saskatchewan to understand what the challenges are in Prince Albert and to ensure that they are working with the government so that we can invest to address those challenges. The Victoria Hospital and the provincial government paying 100% to that facility, I think, is indicative of the collaborative work that the representatives from Prince Albert here have done over the course of the last 13 years.
Just want to get back to today's announcement real quick. Can you explain a little bit about why you chose the date you did, July 2022, in terms of eliminating the small business tax until that day? Why not longer? Why not as long? That type of thing.
Jeremy, do you want to speak a little bit to the specifics of the date that was chosen?
Thank you very much, Premier. Yes, several of the programs, and the Premier mentioned a number of them around the Small Business Support Program, around the Tourism Sector Support Program, obviously are measures that are put in place for a temporary period of time to assist small businesses and tourism operators and accommodations through the COVID-19 crisis. So that was the reason why we put a time limit on the program, and that's something we put a good deal of thought into, and we've worked closely with through all of these programs, our business community, in a very substantial way.
So is this something that you did in consultation with the business community? Like you asked them about a specific date and they said that this is enough time for them?
You know, we've been in constant communication with the business community through the entirety of COVID-19. So, you know, in terms of our program design, the Small Business Support Program, for example, we work really closely with the Chamber of Commerce, with a number of other organizations, leaders in the business community to design that program. Tourism Sector Support Program, we work closely with the Hospitality and Hotel Association, for example, in the design of that program. But what we've been through all of that is getting feedback on how our business community, small businesses particularly, can be as competitive as possible. So, you know, in terms of the specifics of the announcement that were made today, those were worked out by the party, by the Premier, by the government, but the general consultation with the business community has been ongoing in a very real and close way.
I would just add to that, not so much on the July date, but on the fact that this is a temporary relief to small businesses. We still have an intent to balance the budget here in Saskatchewan in 2024, and you'll see the theme of the announcements that we have put forward this week and will continue to put forward are one, to address the affordability of Saskatchewan families, and two, to do what we can to foster the economic recovery here in the province. And we believe that is the ballot question as we move towards an ultimate election on October the 26th, is who do you trust to recover the economy post-COVID here in Saskatchewan. And we're doing very well on this front. And you know, I would give credit to Jeremy Harrison and his team in bringing forward the business response line very early in this pandemic, so that businesses had a direct line into the government of Saskatchewan with their input, with what's working, with what isn't working. And it opened up a very broad and active consultation between the Ministry of Trade and Export and the broader government to ensure that we were providing support where we could, and providing that support with the outcomes that we were most certainly being asked for from the business community. And you know, as we went through the pandemic, we supported businesses that needed to be closed for a period of time or had to curtail their businesses with the Saskatchewan Small Business Emergency Payment. We heard much about buying local throughout the course of the last number of months in our response to COVID. We invested $1 million in a buy local campaign across this province. We protected commercial enterprises from being evicted during a time when they had to curtail their operations. And I think the supports that have been provided to those businesses have shown to work to some degree. As you see, Saskatchewan's economic recovery is already beginning due to what people have done, and we have very low COVID infection rates here in the province, but our economic recovery is already underway, and that's shown in our unemployment numbers, 7.9%, more work to do. But we are leading the nation with respect to the employment numbers and the people that are being able to return back to work here in Canada. What you have seen this week, whether it be the home renovation grant that we provided, our home renovation tax incentive that we provided earlier this week, whether it's the small business tax reduction that we are discussing here today, whether it's a 10% reduction in your power costs, which we announced earlier this week. All of this leads into the next stage of economic recovery here in the province, and we need to prepare ourselves for when we are actually on the backside of this virus, ensure that our businesses, in particular our small businesses in Saskatchewan, are in healthy financial shape so that they can continue to spend, so that they can continue to invest in their communities, they can continue to hire people within their communities, and they can continue to do what they do in essentially building our communities and building our province. Our plan for growth goals still hold true today, to provide to work to create 100,000 new jobs here in the province of Saskatchewan. We want to do that with our small business sector. We want to do that with all of the resource sectors that we have across the province of Saskatchewan. That's why we have put forward the supports that we did in the early days. That's why we're putting forward the environment that we are this week, so that small businesses will have the opportunity to succeed. And we feel that this is going to be the question that Saskatchewan people are going to be asking themselves on October the 26th is, who do you trust to recover the economy in the province of Saskatchewan? Yes.
Yes. So yesterday, CBC reported the Sask Party candidate for Saskatoon Eastview had deleted several social media posts pertaining to unfounded conspiracy theories linking the COVID virus to 5G technology and sunspots. Now, Press Progress has published a story with more social media activity linking this candidate to the Cannon Conspiracy, which is, CBC has reported the Cannon is a right-wing conspiracy group that believes, for example, that there's deep state traitors plotting against U.S. President Donald Trump. So I was wondering, are you concerned that someone is running to become part of your government that appears to support these conspiracy views, and do you still stand behind this candidate? I
would say at this point, we just became aware of these posts last night. This is concerning. I would say that first and foremost. And I'll have more to say on this as we move through the day today. It's something that we're taking a very thorough look at. I'm not aware of this particular group. I know very little about the nature of the content that has been shared. However, I would say that this government continues to get their medical health advice from Dr. Shahab and his team. We continue to make the decisions that we have made as a government with close consultation with Dr. Shahab and his team. When it comes to that scientific evidence, these are not places that we go to for advice. So this is very concerning. I'll have more to say on this and this candidate later today.
Okay. And what is the vetting process for candidates? And were you or anyone in your campaign aware? You said that you find it concerning. Were you aware that there was such a thing as these social media posts before the media publishes accounts?
So we have a very thorough vetting process for our candidates that run in nominations across the province. I would say very, very thorough vetting process. As it turns out, many of the posts that we're discussing here today were made after this particular candidate was chosen as a Saskatchewan Party candidate through a very grassroots nomination system that we have. So with that being said, as I said, we're having a very active look at this within the party. We were made aware of it last night, and we'll have more comments on it later today.
Thanks, everyone.